there will be more on his list than hers, without a doubt.
Yeah, there was some substantive discussions on important issues, but she clearly managed to get under his skin, and he reacted as Donald Trump would react.
He could have talked more about the email scandal than about his own taxes. He did for a little bit. He did like a paragraph on the email scandal. But he then kept on talking about his taxes. Yeah. And even at one point, she said something like, maybe you didn't pay any taxes.
That's smart.
He said, that's smart.
That's smart. Right.
And then he said something about the $20 trillion national debt. And she made some crack about, oh, well, that's because, you don't pay your taxes. Yeah. And he said something, well, if I did, it would be squandered. He almost seemed to concede her point.
That's true.
She clearly had come in very well prepared for this debate. Anderson, over to you.
A fascinating debate. I want to get a quick response from everybody on our panel. Just initial perceptions, Gloria?
I think I agree with Jake that at the beginning of the debate, when Donald Trump was on trade, he was on terra firma. Then I think he totally lost control of the debate, and I think Hillary Clinton controlled the debate on taxes, on the question of birther, on the Iraq war, and at the very end, this question of stamina. When these charges of misogyny were raised against him, he started just attacking Rosie O'Donnell, which was the first time she's ever been mentioned in a presidential
But, I mean, many of the themes that he talked about were things he has brought up in pretty much every debate he's ever been in, or if you've seen his stump speech.
We heard a lot of people from the Trump camp, even some of our friends say, well, let Trump be Trump. Well, Trump was Trump, and it wasn't good for him tonight. What he needed to do tonight was to show something more, was to not chase the rabbits down the hole, but add something to people's understanding of his ability to do this job. I think this was a terrible night for him. She came in. It turns out that prep matters, experience matters, and it showed tonight.
Yeah, and it literally showed, right? I mean, the split-screen image of her standing there pretty firmly, and him sniffling a lot. He was drinking a lot of water. His facial expressions. It was clear. Early on that he was rattled, and it showed. And there were times when she was just happy to let him go deep, 4 or 5 layers deep into birtherism, go 4 or 5 layers deep into his taxes, and just sit there and let it flow, because he was just digging a hole. I mean, in this debate,
there were times I wondered if she was making the calculation, do I jump in or do I just let this go? And it seems like she was just
letting
it go.
First rule of home.
He wore on his sleeve before the debate his lack of preparation, and it caught up with him tonight. And I think that, to David's point, there were some easily managed answers that he blew as a result. One that stands out in my mind is he was asked about the 1973 charges of discrimination in housing, and his reply was to say, I voluntarily settled that suit. Well, the first thing he should have said is, we never discriminated against anyone.
Right.
And I voluntarily settled that case.
And in fact, what he also said was plenty of other people were sued as well. There were a lot of real estate companies that were part of the lawsuit.
And one other, if I might. When you get asked a question, I'm all for law enforcement. But law enforcement is not the answer to a question, how are you going to improve race relations? The first thing you say is not stop and frisk. And law enforcement, you talk about the need to build bridges.
There were two devastating moments, though, and I think they have to be noted. One was the birther discussion, which was an absolute disaster, ending with him after side discussions about Patty Solis Doyle and Sidney Blumenthal. He ends up excoriating Hillary Clinton for not being kind enough to Barack Obama, who's her chief supporter.